What's going on, y'all? I'm back again. Gonna break this card down for you. We got UFC 309. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good. Feeling good about these bets I'm gonna put out. Feeling good about these picks I'm gonna put out, and feeling better. As you know, I was in a motorbike accident. We're healing up nicely. I can move. I can go about, do things now. Move the arm. The sling is off. The stitches are about healed up. We still got the little knot there, but as you can see, it's a lot smaller. At first, it was kind of like when Joanna and Jacek fought Weili Zhang, right? Had the big knot, but it's come down, and I'm feeling a lot better. And that has got me feeling that, and also I drink a lot of coffee. I'm sure you can tell already. Those two things combined have got me high energy. But before that, I went outside. It's really nice. The weather's at that perfect place here in Texas. You know, it's always hot here, but we finally got some cool weather, a little bit of a breeze. I went out there, guys. I meditated on these fights, okay? We meditated on the fights. We got the flow, the energy is right. I'm feeling good. I spoke every fighter's name into existence. So I think we're going to hit big. This is the card. And why not go into it feeling pumped, right? 2016 energy all again. Like I said, we got Jones coming back. We got Stipe coming back. Is it the fight that should be made? No. Stipe doesn't deserve a title shot. Coming off a knockout loss. Coming off 4 or 5 years removed, right? Hasn't fought. You know, and that just shows the state of the UFC right now. By the way, sit down for a bit, relax. This is going to be a longer than usual video because I have a lot to say. You know, John Jones should be fighting Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is your interim title holder. Nowhere in history is that not your next fight. It's not happening. Jones is without a doubt ducking the guy. We can argue why or if it makes sense to do that or, you know, what ducking is and all. You know what I mean? But those of us who know what it is, knows that's what's happening here. And you could be like, oh, well, he doesn't need to do this, he doesn't need to do that. That's fine. But that is what he's doing. You know, whether or not you agree with the reason he's ducking, that's up for debate. But ducking is 100% what's happening here. Just like I believe that Alex is ducking Magomed Ankalaev, which I know is a hot take. But if any other fighter in the UFC was saying and doing the things that Alex Pereira is doing right now, to Magomed Ankalaev, like calling out Jones, calling out Tom Aspinall, calling out DDP, calling out any other fighter but your number one contender, y'all would be out there saying the same thing. So just want to put that out there too. But yeah, we have the fight we have, and I honestly think it's going to be great, and I can't wait to tell y'all why. So without further ado, let's buzz it wide open, okay? The first fight is going to be Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Moura. This was a tough one for me. I thought about it a lot, and I have settled on Eduarda Moura. The reason I'm taking Eduarda Moura is look at their stats. All her stats, most of the stats lean towards her. And in a close fight, in a WMMA fight, you never know what's going to happen, but you're better off letting the numbers be on your side. She can probably get Veronica Hardy down. Veronica Hardy has some good jiu-jitsu, but we're looking at a Brazilian jiu-jitsu chick here. We're looking at a girl who gets hit less. She's not as active, but overall, I think her striking is going to show to be more than sufficient. I think she's going to put the pressure on her. Veronica Hardy likes to keep that distance and fight, you know, at like medium range. She's going to have trouble when she gets pressured here. Honestly, I thought JJ was going to do that, JJ Aldrich, but it didn't work out that way. This time, I'm going to go against Hardy again. I do like her. I think she's improved. I like that she's got Dan Hardy behind her. But I don't think it's going to be enough here. I'm going to take a dog off the jump, and it's going to be Eduarda Moura. Next up, we have Oban Elliott versus Basel Hafez. Guys, as soon as I saw this fight, I jumped on Basel Hafez. I looked at both of their previous performances and who they fought. Basel Hafez has been in there with some, you know, higher level competition guys and did well. Recently, though, he was in there with Mickey Gall, an improved Mickey Gall, and he made it way closer than it had to be. Looked like he was gassing. Oban Elliott's not going to gas. And that's what I had to realize. Oban Elliott doesn't have any defeats on his recent records. Oban Elliott's stats, the stats are on his side, guys, if you're looking at him. So why did I think Basil Hafez was going to win? Pressure, power, and good wrestling. But his wrestling's probably not better than Oban Elliott's. Alexa, shut up. His sorry, I have a reminder here. Not Alexa. Anyways, so the problem is Oban Elliott. I mean, the problem for Basil Hafez is Oban Elliott's probably a better wrestler, dude, and probably a better BJJ guy. I just think he slightly has an edge everywhere. So I think that Basil Hafez is a great underdog pick. In fact, I put some early money on him. I wish I didn't for two reasons. One, because I think Oban Elliott's going to win now. And two, Basil Havez's number has went, like, the underdog, the plus money has risen. So you're getting more plus money if you're picking him now. So I should have waited on that any way you look at it. Any way you look at it, though, also, I'm going to win money because I've now hedged the bet unintentionally. Went heavy on Hafez, put him in parlays. If I'd have made this video a day or two ago, he would have been my pick. But looking at the numbers and looking at who they fought and looking at their record recently, which doesn't always mean anything, right? Because there's still a lot of unknowns about both these guys. But looking at all that, I have to go with Oban Elliott. I think I'm making the flip. So, and that's why I don't like to put these videos out on Monday. I got a lot of guys asking me Monday, even Tuesday. Hey, what's up? I like to do it on Wednesday because it's the middle of the week. All the excitement's kind of, really rising to its peak, and I get these, and I can see where the odds and everything's going to kind of settle. So for me, I do like Wednesday. Anyways, though, I think Oban Elliott's going to win this, actually. Wouldn't be surprised if he got a submission, or at least a decision. So Oban Elliott will be my pick. So we got Eduardo Moura, we got Oban Elliott. Next up, as we just mentioned, McGhee Gall. McGhee Gall versus Ramiz Brahimaj. These are both fighters that have been underwhelming. McGhee Gall kind of started hot. I love one of my favorite fights to this day, Sage Northcutt, McGhee Gall. I really like seeing that kind of mean side of Sage. If you've never saw it, you never followed the lead up to it, it was a good time in UFC history. And McGhee Gall got him, man. McGhee Gall looked pretty sharp in that. And Sage Northcutt was pushed early. I think he's got a lot of bad coaching around him, a lot of yes men, including his father. But get away from all that, I think Sage Northcutt's actually a pretty good win for McGhee Gall. McGhee Gall, he kind of got pushed too early. He kind of got put in the spotlight. I mean, he's been in the UFC since he was 1-0, 2-0. So you got to give him a pass for some of these losses, and you can see the improvements. Ramiz Brahimaj is supposed to be this great BJJ guy. What else? I mean, I don't see him winning here. I'm going to take McGhee Gall. I think McGhee Gall is just a little bit better everywhere. And he's been through the fire. He's been forged through the fire. He's been through the tough fights. He's taken the losses, and it's his time, man. So, it's not his time for anything else but to win this fight. But he will win. I'm taking McGhee Gall. Next up, we have Marcin Tybura versus Janata Deniz. I'm a Janata Deniz hater. I don't think he's great. I think he's overrated. Everyone thinks he's going to go in there and he's like the next Alex Pereira or something, going to be putting everybody to sleep. It's not going to happen. He'll get the knockouts. He's a heavyweight artist. Marcin Tybura has knockouts, probably more than him. I mean, it's heavyweight. That's cool. But his wrestling is weak. It's like Robelis to Spage level weak. Marcin Tybura isn't an amazing wrestler. He's not going to go in there and put on a Khabib-type clinic, but he can get one or two takedowns. The problem is, can he keep him down? That's the story of this fight. It's not if Janata Deniz, let's call him Deniz, will get taken down. He probably will. It's will Tybura be able to keep him down? Because he won't be able to get back up. But can Tybura keep him down? Because that's what I worry about for Tybura. And will Tybura get caught on the entries? That's what I'm worried about. Getting caught. Remember, we got the knees legal now. We got the elbows legal now. Is Tybura... that's the story of the fight. Is Tybura going to be able to keep Deniz down? And can he get in on those entries safely? I believe he will. And that's why I'm going to take Marcin Tybura in this fight. But if you have the other guy, I'm not mad at you. Up, we got Roberto Romero versus David Onama. He was supposed to fight Lucas Almeida, and I actually would have taken Lucas Almeida in that fight. David Onama is good, athletic, strong. You know, I like him, but he's not great. A guy like Lucas Almeida probably could have beat him. Unfortunately for me, he got Roberto Romero. Now, Roberto Romero is from Combate, and he's tough. He's aggressive. The guy can strike, man. He's a good striker. Got some knockouts on his record. I actually think he may, on paper, be a better striker than David Onama. In fact, I'm positive of that. So he could win here, but I don't think he's live enough to take the dog shot. He's been submitted a few times, and David Onama has some sneaky submissions. And I can see him getting in a cage grappling scenario, ending up in the right position, and submitting Roberto Romero. So Roberto Romero is not going to be my pick. I'm going to take David Onama. Next up, we have Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. I see two things going on here. I see a lot of people taking Miller because they keep counting out Damon Jackson. And I tell you guys every time, this guy's won a lot of money for me as a dog. Damon Jackson is a badass. Damon Jackson, as I call him, now that he's got the hair, his new nickname, Handsome David Jackson. Handsome Damon Jackson is tricky as all hell. You know, got good kicks, not a horrible striker. He is not the most durable guy. But Jim Miller still has power, of course. But I don't think he's got enough power to put away Damon Jackson, who's going up in weight, by the way, which is great for him. And I would not be shocked if Damon Jackson submits Jim Miller. So I'm gonna take Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson's longer, younger, at a good weight class for him, not cutting all that weight, not gonna be drained. I think he can keep Jim Miller away enough with his kicks, with that teep kick that he likes and things like that. And if they scramble, I believe that Damon Jackson is going to be the one who submits Jim Miller. So I'm excited to see how he looks at this weight class. I'm not going to count out Jim Miller because he's still got the hands and he's still got the submission games, which always makes him dangerous. So I understand why some people are taking him. But I think a lot of them are taking him because they're actually overlooking his opponent. And I don't think you want to do that here. So for me, it's Damon Jackson. It's Damon Jackson all the way. Next up, we have Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. This was a tough one. I think this is a tough one for everyone. You've got Eric Anders, who is kind of like your Chris Weidman, like bootleg Chris Weidman, right? That he does very similar things, has a very similar game, especially at this stage, right? This day and age, they're very similar. But there's a reason they put Eric Anders in there with Chris Weidman. This is in New York. Chris Weidman is from New York. There's something that they see that I think a lot of us might not see. And that's that this is a very winnable fight for Chris Weidman. If you were lucky enough to get Chris Weidman when he was an underdog, then good luck. Then that's great luck for you. I think that's a good play. Now that they're not so close, now that they're so much closer, forgive me. This is probably one that you want to stay away from because of that. Of course, I think if you're picking this fight, you're taking Weidman, you're taking the dog money. But now the dog money's been removed. So what do you do here? I have went back and forth on this. And I'm going to take Chris Weidman. I'm going to take Chris Weidman because I thought, despite the eye pokes, he was winning almost every exchange in that Bruno Silva fight. Chris Weidman looked a lot better in that fight. Is he having a resurgence or something like that? I don't believe so. But he's shown that he's still got a little bit. And I think the UFC knows that. And that's why they put him against Eric Anders, who actually seems to be on the decline even more now, if you're looking at their last fights. It's anyone's fight. Be careful if you're betting it. If you got the plus money on Chris, I think that was the right move. You don't have that anymore, so you stay away from it. But for pick's sake, I'm going to take Weidman because Weidman's accomplished more. And he looked better in his last fight. And what else can they give us? That's all we really know. Nobody's got that super great insight on this. So Chris Weidman for me. I guess that's dog number 2, right? Let's go up to Marcus McGhee versus Jonathan Martinez. I have way too many bets on Marcus McGhee. I guess Marcus McGhee would be my lock here. I'm just so confident in this guy. Liked him ever since he came out. His striking percentage is more accurate. He lands more, and he gets hit less than Jonathan Martinez. Much better wrestler, more well-rounded. Looks like he's going to be the bigger, stronger guy out there. I know he's a little bit older in age, but he's not showing it. I think he's in his prime right now. Jonathan Martinez can be a little tentative. Isn't going to be able to handle the pressure wrestling, and if anything outside of distance striking, you're going to have to go with Marcus McGhee. And Marcus McGhee has more power from what we've seen. So for me, this could be like the core. What is his name? The Romanus fight, right? Cortavius Romanus. I was so high on him, had him in a bunch of parlays, but that was my fault. I really should have went back and looked at more of his fights instead of just the couple that had impressed me. Got a little starstruck from that. Won't do it again. Hope I'm not doing it again here. But we have more of a sample size here, and we have finishes, and we have a guy that has shown he's levels above what Romanus was. This is a great weight class for him. Everything here is good. It's lining up. I think we have to take Marcus McGhee, and I think that he's a good parlay piece. I better because I put him in quite a bit, and that's my pick. Next up, Karina Silva versus Vivian Araújo. This is going to be Karina Silva. Karina Silva, she should win. It's WMMA. I've said this before. She should win. Everything lines up. Everything looks better on paper, but you never know. This is a very game fight for Vivian Araújo. Any way you look at it, it's probably like 60-40. I'm going to take Silva. Apparently, the bookies agree with me. I believe the UFC agrees with me as well. But I think they're meeting at the right time, so anything could happen. But I think we got to go with who's taken us this far, so far. And it's Karina Silva. I think she's just got a little bit of a better game, but it's a tough one to bet. I do have her in a couple parlays, but I didn't go big on her because it is WMA. Anything can happen, and this is a game fight. But I think Silva is the pick. Next up, we have Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Guys, I'm going to take Paul Craig. I'm just going to tell you right now. 2 reasons. Well, 3. 1, he is forged in the fire, as like I've said about the other guys before. Man, this guy's seen it all. He's been in there. Bo Nickel has such a great resume and has been in the bright lights and all that stuff before. But if we take away some of that fame, some of the, that likability, some of that Instagram, some of those Instagram numbers and all that, we just look at this fight for what it is. A really, really good wrestler with some decent hands and some decent jiu-jitsu going up against a guy who's got decent striking and who is a really, really good. So you have a really good BJJ guy versus a really good wrestler who have about even hands. Paul Craig's probably not as durable at this stage of the game because of the age and things that he's been through. That's one reason, right? Just how they match up. Second, I want to be the guy that picks Paul Craig. I'm not going to lie. Most of y'all already came in here knowing you weren't picking Paul Craig. I'm not going to be able to convince you to pick Paul Craig, and I don't want you to put your money on it. But at the odds, what do? You can't bet Bo Nickel. Somebody has to be the guy that picks Paul Craig to win. So, we can take this off the loss record. In my mind, I'm just really picking him because I want to be the guy that picks him, and I think he has every chance to win here. He always upsets these young guys. He gets these submissions on dudes that aren't ready, and we know Bo Nickel's got some pretty good subs, but is he gonna wrestle with Craig, get him down? And this is going to be another submission for Paul Craig. I think it's very live. But to be honest, the safe bet is not to... The safe pick is not to bet this fight because there's no money on Bo Nickel. But if you're going to bet it, you should put a little bit on Paul Craig because the odds are in his favor. And, he's a big underdog, and he definitely has a chance to win. You think Bo Nickel's just like this elite striker that's just going to go in there and hurt Paul Craig? He could. He's getting better every day. He very well could, but I find it unlikely. What's more likely to me, him knocking out Paul Craig or Paul Craig submitting him? And that's why I'll take Paul Craig here. It's a little crazy, but that's what we do. We're live dogs MMA. We chase the dog sometimes. And, man, for me, those numbers, I'm taking Paul Craig all day. After that, we have Charles Olivera versus Michael Chandler. Wasn't really excited when they made this. I was thinking, why? We've seen it already. Are they just trying to get one of these guys another win? Probably. But it was a great fight, and there was so much more to see in that fight. But I think I saw enough. Michael Chandler was my pick going into that first fight because what happened in the first round, I thought he could, he hurt Charles Oliveira, and I thought that would be enough for him to storm him, keep the pressure, and put Charles Oliveira out by TKO. Charles Oliveira then showed his striking. That was like his best striking, man. Just super crisp, sniper out there, really prime. And he hurts Michael Chandler, which ain't hard to do. Michael Chandler hurts you or you hurt him. I think the best bet on this is Charles Oliveira by sub or Michael Chandler first round KO. I already made the bet, but if I'm you, I'm making the bet. I'm going to take Chandler first round KO because those are really good odds. Or I'm going to take Oliveira winning, Oliveira sub, whatever, however you want to do it. So that's probably the best way to bet this, or live bet it. See how that first round looks. But it's probably not going to go past that first round and a half. So the under looks good too, right? So there's a lot of good bets here. But as far as picks, I rarely hate to pick against the guy who already lost because typically the rematch goes in favor of the guy that won the first time. Where are they in their career? I feel like a goof for picking Michael Chandler. But he just seems like he's been itching to fight. He's so ready. He's gonna bring that full on to, I think, his debut. This is going to be like Michael Chandler's debut in the UFC again. Fighting a guy with somewhat similar stance and striking than Oliveira. Of course, Dan Hooker's way better, way more accomplished. But you know what I'm saying, that kind of body type and the way they go about the striking, right? And then you got great jiu-jitsu. So if it gets out the first round, I'm going to worry for Chandler. But I'm going to put hope that it's not. I know the Chucky Olives guys are going to be upset with me. No, you know what? It's just so close, man. I am going to take... I keep going back and forth on this, guys. I wish I could come in here and give you the answers. I know how I'm betting it. I'm betting Chandler, first round, TKO, because that's some plus money right there, guys, and it's so live. Chucky Olives, always live on the sub. And then, if you're going to parlay, you probably go safe. Let's go Charles. I think Charles is the safe bet here, which makes him the safe pick here. But a big part of me wants to put money on that dog there. But, guys, I've already taken some crazy ones. I don't think I'm going to chase Chandler here either. So, for the sake of picks, I will take Charles Oliveira here. I don't have to tell you too much about this fight. We've seen it. I don't think it's going to go too different. But everything's already in Charles's favor. He's already beat the guy. It's really about where they are in their career. And Michael Chandler, he's kind of bulked up. He's probably going to cut more weight this time. If he puts that initial storm on and Oliveira is able to get past it, which Oliveira's been cracked before. So was Michael Chandler, but who's going to last a little bit? Who's got the cardio at the end of the day? So the bets, Michael Chandler. The pick will be Chucky Olives, Charles Oliveira. Okay. Next up, we have John Jones, the abominable John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Do not like John Jones. They have given this guy every break. They're bringing back the old gloves. They're bringing the 10 to 8 elbows, or 12 to 6 elbows. 10 to 8. They're bringing back. They're not bringing back, but they're doing all these rule changes, and they've always wanted to do all these rule changes. They've been pushing towards this, but they really expedited that process so they could have. Here's what they're going to do. If I don't get anything right on this card, I'm sure about this. They're going to tell you he's the pound for pound number one because they have done everything they could to make sure of that. They're going to tell you that he really never lost. to Matt Hamill, and they're going to tell you how the rules have changed and how they should never have happened. But guys, look at the world around you. People break rules all over the world. Speeding tickets. What if I got a speeding ticket? I paid because it was 65 on the highway. Now it's 75. Do I go back and get my money back? And then, you know what I mean? Like, when every single fighter in the UFC changed, Peter Yan with the knee he did, all these different rule sets, they would only do that for him, to accommodate him. They have cultivated and created a lot of this guy's career. And there's a lot of people out there that are like calling me a truther, saying I'm a conspiracy theorist, but guys, they want to say they have the best athlete in all sports. That is something very personal to Dana White. And they chose this guy to be him. And that's why we've had all the sketchy calls. He lost to Gus, arguably lost to Santos, arguably lost to Gus, definitely lost to Reyes. You know, guy goes to decision with Anthony Smith, gets lucky that Anthony Smith kept fighting. Guy goes to decision with OSP, couldn't even finish that guy. I mean, Jones is one of the best fighters on the planet in the UFC. One of the best MMA fighters. I can't take that away from him. But he is a little overrated in the sense that people put him at number one. Guys, he's not number one. The greatest fighter of all time is GSP. GSP's done everything Jones has done. GSP had the layoff, came back after an injury, recovered, beat everybody. He did that. The guy came back after like 4 years off, 5 years off, beats a real champion, Michael Bisping, who had a real belt, to become a double champ before Jones did that. And Gall didn't have a belt. He didn't even beat an actual champion. It was like they put the right guy in there at the right time. They gave him the opportunity. And sure, he took the most. He took the best. He made the most of it. But GSP did that already, guys. And GSP, look at his record. He has beat, between DJ, Jones, and GSP, who's beat the better competition? Look at the records of the opponents they fought. You will find that it's GSP. Who holds the most records in the record book? It's very close, but I believe it's also GSP. To me, it's undeniable, man. But they don't promote him because they don't make money off him anymore. So, some people would say DJ, you could maybe put DJ above Jones just because of all the stuff that I mentioned, like all the weird stuff going on around him. But competition matters, and I don't believe 205 had the competition that light heavyweight had. But light heavyweight is a much weaker division than 170. The average man in the world weighs about 170 to 200, about 185, 200 pounds. When they cut weight, where do they end up? 155, 170, which is why and 145 as well. That's why those are always the most stacked divisions. And the greatest man in those divisions is your real, toughest. That's your real baddest man on the planet. Okay? Size matters, sure. But when we're looking at skills, we're looking at MMA, man. Those are your marquee classes. They have the most people. They have the most competition. And that cannot be denied. So for me, GSP is definitely the GOAT. Going off on a tangent. Anyways, it's hard to tell where Stipe is. Did he fight a guy with like Francis Ngannou, rush in and get KO'd? Francis Ngannou has a lot of power. But if Stipe is taking his time here and fighting, I believe Stipe fights him like he fought DC in the third fight. Takes his time a little bit, picks his shots. He can beat John Jones, especially this John Jones. Stipe's not going to be the smaller guy out there. Of course, he won't have the reach and stuff. But if this is just a boxing match, Stipe Miocic wins. He's got more power. And if DC can't take you down, DC could have taken Stipe down if he wanted to, but he couldn't. He tried. So Jones is just going to go in there and take him down and submit him? I don't see that, man. And again, just like the Bo Nickel fight, I don't really see much of a bet on Jones. So I want to be the guy that picks Stipe. So once again, you didn't come in here for me to convince you that Stipe is going to win. Those two fights, everybody has a pick already. And they probably have the best pick, and that's to go with the bookies. But I like to do things a little bit different. And if I see an avenue for a guy to win, I want to be the guy that picked him. I'm not even going to lie. So I am going to pick Stipe Miocic. And guys, I will never pick Jones. I don't like him. I will never pick Jones. Some people are biased towards fighters. Some people are biased against them. I will not pick John Jones for the sake of, just how I feel. I don't like the guy. And I think Stipe can definitely strike with him and has more power. So I'm going to take Stipe Miocic. That's it. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the hate. Appreciate the discourse. Let me know who you have below. And until I see you next time, let's get paid. Toodles.